All right, y'all, what is up and welcome back. So I'm scrolling on Instagram today and one of my friends sends me a video about this guy talking about 4 counties in Georgia that you want to avoid if you want to stay out of jail. And I thought this was funny because I've actually lived in most of the counties that he's talking about. So what I'm going to do is I want to bring up this clip and then I want to talk more about it, go a little bit more in depth and tell you what he means by these counties. So without further ado, let's bring this up and hear what he got to say.
So I'm in Atlanta right now. And I already realized that there's 4 counties that I need to stay away from. Henry, Douglas, Cobb, and Gwinnett. They're going to fry you. Okay, so I'm in Atlanta.
All right, that's pretty much the video. All right, so the counties that he named were Henry County, Douglas County, Cobb County, and Gwinnett County. Now, I'm going to tell you what he means by this. Okay, so let's tackle the first things first. And he did forget Clayton County because Clayton County will fry you. Let me tell you something. Clayton County, don't let them catch you slipping. But let's start out with Henry County. All right. Now, I'm not going to lie. I've spent a lot of time in Henry County because I grew up around Henry County. All right. And one thing I can tell you about Henry that makes it special is I think that's the closest city to the heart of Atlanta that you still gonna see Confederate flags hanging everywhere. All right, you still gonna see Confederate flags hanging everywhere. There is a restaurant called Cotton Pickin' Chicken in Henry County. I kid you not. There's restaurants called Cotton Plantation Road and all this stuff. It is crazy the amount of symbolism to the post-civil rights period that this place has. All right, so with that, you're gonna have a lot of the people that are police officers, they're gonna come from this generation. All right. And these police officers, I'm not gonna lie, I've experienced hella racist police officers in Henry County. All right. And this is not some, oh, they just stopped you because you were being bad. No, these folks is racist down there. Do not play with them at all. When you driving through Henry County, driving through 138, Stockbridge, all that, McDonough, you need to have your head not on a swivel, straight forward. Because if they see you looking at them, they are going to pull you over for nothing out there. Okay. When I was a young man, look, I got pulled over maybe 8 or 9 times in Henry County. The most tickets I ever got in my life was in Clayton County, though. I'm not gonna lie. That road right in front of South Lake Mall, Mount Zion Boulevard. Oh my God. Let me tell you, I got pulled over so many times right there. But Henry County, like I said, is special because the amount of Confederacy and the slavery symbolic symbols that's everywhere, they have tons of that out there. Now, there's a lot of black folks in Henry County, but most of them live around the Ellenwood side. Once you get towards Stockbridge, McDonough, you start getting into the 95% white area. And then that's when you start seeing the Confederate flags hanging everywhere. You start seeing all the symbolism. You start going into restaurants and businesses and you notice that there's nobody employed there that's of color. Everybody that's employed is white. So, and of course you got your Hispanic parts of Henry County too, which is cool. But be careful in Henry County. When you're riding down 138, flipping, Jodico, all these little back roads in Henry County, be careful. Those cops have nothing to do all day. I kid you not. Those cops have nothing to do. They will just literally sit there and mess with you all day. I experienced that a lot when I was in my early teens, when I got my first car. Look, my first car was a Crown Vic. I used to ride around Henry County and just get pulled over for no reason, y'all. Now, I ain't gonna lie. When I got pulled over in Clayton County, that was because I used to have my music all the way up. I had exterior Boat speakers in the grill of my Crown Vic. I had 215s in the back, tweeters everywhere. I mean, you could hear me coming from a mile away. So, 9 times out of 10, the tickets I was getting was sound violation tickets, which I ain't gonna lie. I kind of deserved those because I was being ignorant, but that's neither here or there. So Henry County, be careful. Them boys is out there, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say they don't like black folks, man, because they hanging Confederate flags everywhere. If I see you with a Confederate flag, I'm just gonna automatically assume you don't like black folks. So yeah, Henry County, stay out of there. Now I want to talk about the next county, Cobb County. The thing about Cobb County is it's north of Atlanta. For y'all who don't know, Cobb County is north of Atlanta. they are not going to mess with you out here unless you give them a reason. It's not like Henry, to where if they can see you and they see you looking at them, they're just going to pull you over to see what you're doing. Cobb County is not really going to mess with you unless you're drawing attention to yourself. Y'all got to realize something. There are so many people in Cobb County. I love Cobb County, by the way. Kennesaw, Marietta. Cobb County is amazing. There's so many businesses up here. There's so much money up here. There's so many places to live, good real estate. It's amazing in Cobb. But at the same time, he wasn't lying. Them cops don't play, but you really got to give them a reason up here. And by give them a reason, I mean, you just sticking out like a sore thumb. Everybody out here is pretty normal to the most extent. You riding around here with a box Chevy on 28s and you got 5 dudes in your car, everybody got dreads, you probably going to get pulled over, bro. I'm just going to be honest with you. You probably going to get pulled over in Cobb. But for the most part, Cobb be laid back, okay? If you out here swerving, they will pull you over and give you a DUI test, yes. But other than that, I mean, I've been in Cobb for a long time. Cobb's not gonna really mess with you like that. Just from my experience, I don't know if because I've been older as I've lived out here, but haven't really experienced Cobb County PD acting up too much. Usually I see them at houses, people making house calls. I don't really see them out doing roadblocks like that. They are really laid back in my opinion. So I kind of get what he's saying. They don't play, but at the same time, I feel like you got to give them a reason to do that. You got to give them a reason to do that. Now, I want to talk about Douglas County. Now, I don't have any experience in Douglas County, but I can tell you one thing. Douglas County is out there. When I say out there, I mean, that's one of them counties where you really have to be driving out of the city to get to Douglas County. And anytime you go to the outer realms of Atlanta, you're going to experience the predominantly Confederate flag hanging ass areas. All right. Just like Stockbridge, but a little bit more extreme, where you're going to have people out there that have come from these, I'm not going to lie, they come from racist households. All right, let's just keep it real. They come from households where they done seen 5 black people in person their whole time being alive. The dog look, I used to deliver pizza in Stockbridge. All right. And I had somebody tell me, oh, the dog is barking at you because it never seen a black person before. I kid you not, Joe. Somebody told me this dog was barking at me because they'd never seen a black person before. I kid you not. All right. You got people out there that live in that community out there in Douglas that have not really been around black folks like that. I mean, come on. It's going to be some communities of blacks out there, but for the most part, it's going to be predominantly white. So it's going to be more secluded and, they're going to be off to their own. And if they see you riding around, you got your windows down, you got your Mary J. Blige playing, they may just pull you over to see what you're doing, almost like how Stockbridge is. So I would just say take precaution. Look, if you anywhere outside of the metro area, you got to realize something. Atlanta, like they say, is the black Mecca, right? Georgia is not the black Mecca. Georgia is racist as hell, all right? Our state flag was the Confederate flag. I want y'all to realize that. Our state flag was the Confederate flag. Atlanta doesn't count. They don't bring that stuff to Atlanta because they know they'll get kicked out of Atlanta running and screaming if they brought that stuff downtown or to the metro area or any of the surrounding counties in the metro area. But, when you go into the outskirts, that's what they do, y'all. That's what they do. I can't even lie. That's what they do. So be careful if you're riding around in one of them outskirts county. Now let's talk about Gwinnett. Gwinnett. Yes, I've lived in Gwinnett. I've lived on Pleasantdale. I've lived on 141. Yes, I've lived in Gwinnett before too. Gwinnett don't play, but Gwinnett is special because Gwinnett has a very, very large Hispanic presence. Okay, very large Hispanic presence. And a lot of the cops, even in Gwinnett, are Hispanic. If you go out in Gwinnett and you see the police officers, you'll realize a lot of the officers are Hispanic. So they are very keen to certain things. They have a very heightened sense of awareness when you're riding around. Honestly, they can tell who got it and who don't. And you know what I mean when I say who got it, who riding around with that stuff, who ain't. So Gwinnett don't miss. All right. Gwinnett do not miss. They are going to pull you over and see what the hell is going on. But 9 times out of 10, just like Cobb, 9 times out of 10, you was probably sticking out like a sore thumb because Gwinnett is so packed. So many people in Gwinnett, so much is going on. You really got to be sticking out like a sore thumb to be caught up in some stuff in Gwinnett. So all I'm gonna say is, if you do choose to partake in certain unlawful activities, which you shouldn't, make sure you're not sticking out like a sore thumb while you're doing. You're not riding around in a tri-colored car with 24-inch rims, blasting your music with your windows down and all your friends in the car. Of course you're going to get pulled over. Of course you're going to get messed with, y'all. Okay? I want y'all to do something when y'all riding around. Imagine that you're a cop. Imagine that you're looking for somebody to bust. And imagine what you would be looking for if you was looking for somebody to bust. Don't be what they're looking for. That's it. Be low key. All right. Act like you got some sense. Them folks is not going to notice you. I promise you this. Coming from somebody who used to get pulled over all the time in all these different counties. And I can tell you, Clayton County is the worst out of all these. Y'all don't even want me to talk about the Red Dogs. That's not even a thing anymore. But anyway, y'all don't want me to talk about Clayton County. Clayton County is the absolute worst out of all that. I can't believe he forgot to name that. Clayton County will pull you over for nothing. They will literally walk up to your door and come into your house and ask you what you got going on in there. No warrant, nothing. They don't care in Clayton. All right. And Fulton is just, man, look, there's nothing going on in Fulton. Okay. You can, Fulton County PD don't care. They don't care. Neither does DeKalb. DeKalb County does not care. Let me tell you something. They don't care. I had a drunk driver hit my Dodge Charger one time and totaled it. Guy was drunk. DeKalb County didn't even arrest the guy. They just came out, did the ticket, and they just let both of us go. They didn't even care, man. I promise you. That's how laid back they are in DeKalb. I always call DeKalb Gotham City because the police force just doesn't exist out there. But anyway, I want to know what y'all think about this. And of course, like I said, make sure you are being low key in all of these counties. All these counties, no matter where you at, if you're not sticking out, all right, if you're not making yourself known, if you're not making a scene, got your music up, you in a very loud car, all my boys that got the Chargers, the Mustangs, the Camaros, y'all are targets. Congratulations. It's a nice car, but you're a target. I ride around in a Chevy Silverado, and guess what? Don't nobody be looking because it's low key. It's a nice truck, but it's low key. All right. So if you one of them boys that got the tricked out Chrysler 300, the SS Camaro and all that, yada, yada, congrats. You're a target. So you just got to make sure you extra clean when you riding around because them boys will pull you over ASAP. All right. So I want to know what y'all think about this. Anything I forgot? Any other counties y'all can think of in Georgia? All my Georgia folks out there. Any other counties you can think of in Georgia that you need to stay away from if you want to avoid going to jail? All right. And as always, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.